to reintroduce myself.
Oh yeah, just the monkey.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
this is like, so I started in just like a little A5 sketchbook and then just penciling this guy. And then I got it to a point of inking, and I realized that I needed more space. Like he was just cramped in and stuff.
I love that detail. It's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I really used to just love putting detail into stuff. But so then scan it and put it into Photoshop. And
Great.
yeah, and then expand the canvas.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's
look at
like,
that.
okay. So there's some stuff that was cut off by the page.
So that's let you center it.
Yeah, I can center it. I can add more canvas. I can at some point I think like his left hand is like way too cramped. So if I had more space, I would have so the page really sort of like constrained the image there. So now I go, okay, you can have some more space to breathe. I think I end up repainting that arm entirely. So just, yeah. I love the monkey.
What are you thinking of the background that you're drawing in? What are you trying to put him on?
Is like on a rock or something, like a mountain top kind of thing, So but yeah, I'm playing with different stuff. But because the way his feet are positioned as well, it's like, okay, that's also going to determine where it can go, like say, I have to make this multi-ledged thing, and then I don't know where that came from. Cool. But you see the arm, I had to redraw that as well, and
yeah.
So
sort of balance it up more. And it doesn't look like it right now, but before, when it was just the drawing with the high amount of detail, it really reminded me of like a Mobius, like Incal, that French graphic design style, and also one of my very favorite mangas is Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind.
I know
with
that.
a really thick pen and lots of hatching, like it's like a really serious single hatching, not double hatching, just a really great, again, limited palette that's high detail, and it's just so sumptuous to look at.
Yeah, well, I love that. Like you can really enjoy, like that is just like hatching is also quite kind of meditative, if you're just doing this, like it's like the rules, you just go, okay, like line after line after line, but at the same time you also like, you can't just do it absent-mindedly, because you have to think about, like, the lines are describing where the shadow is, and it's also describing form as well, so where the form is like meeting the light and falling into shadow. So it's like, it's again one of those things that's kind of like meditative, but also like you have to stay switched on.
You've really killed your darlings with this monkey picture. Like, it looks quite different, and you've tried like 7 or 8 or 9 different ways of direction to go in with this picture, and you're just not afraid to say no, like back it up and go again, which that took term kill your darlings.
Yeah, you
can't fall in love.
No, you can't. Yeah.
Yo.
So
you can't fall in love with your own work. You got to stay. No. Like, that's what's amazing. You're able to keep that mindset.
Well, it's like, just I don't even know. Just like go like, no, it doesn't look right. Try this. I wish sometimes that I could find the right thing straight away. Because some people say they have like an image in their mind and then they're trying to get that. But I rarely,
that happens to me.
Yeah, I don't really have an image in my mind. I'll just like start drawing and then see what comes out. So
that's great.
Yeah,
well, that's great, because I do see the image and I'm just tracing it. People go, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "Well, I'm just filling in what I can already see there." But it makes it harder to re-envisage and do what you've done, which is go back to the well like so many times for this one drawing and really experiment. Like when you put in, you like decrease the detail on like the thigh and the other leg, and it just like now you've got a contrast between lots of detail in parts and then less detail on a plane, and that's just so dynamic. But I would have been too in love to really try that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I still have the pencil drawing, so it's not really lost. But like you see, like now at the end, there's nothing really left of the original drawing. But it was a good prompt to get me started, and I got like there's some things about the pose and stuff that are still there, but I can
And
spend a
you've
lot
gone
of-
back and forth so many times. Like, is he holding his magic pole, or is he leaning, and is his tail wrapped around it, or is he leaning against like a much thicker pillar that's like an object, part of the environment and background? Like, it's just fantastic the way you've gone back and forth on that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you think it's fantastic, because to me, I think like, oh God, can't you just, what's wrong with you? You know, just get it. So, but eventually, you know, and then
So, what
at
are you
the
thinking
end-
when you're doing this?
Well, I'm not even thinking that much. I'm just like, no, it doesn't look right. Oh, you know, and then things like, how would he hold the pole? You know, like in terms of physics, you know, it's got to, you know, like it's kind of like lean against him, and it's like stuff of composition that I think becomes a little bit automatic after a while, just like what feels right, you know, and like looking at negative space and like, so yeah, in the end, it's you know, it sort of comes together, but it always takes a while to kind of to find it, you know, and it's kind of like the nice thing about the diary comics, because I just do them, I just like rough it out really quickly in pencil. Yeah, that's about right, and then just ink it, and it's done. You know, so
we get some types, so we've become, it's like enculturated types, like whether it's like if it's a superhero comic or if people are into anime, there's particular, you know, like there's particular poses and there's a way that bodies look, right? Like there's poses and it's completely stylized. Like people don't fucking flex like that when they're having conversations. They just don't. You know, it's like in daytime soaps, like people are constantly turning their back on each other and hiding what their face's reaction, and then one person will turn and face them, and then the other person will turn, and then there's 2 episodes of that, you know, them facing that way. Like that's like, it's just like this accepted stylistic way of understanding bodies and different mediums. But if you were talking to someone, like, I actually think I did have a partner once who would do the old turn, like the dramatic turn away or whatever.
Man,
Like, am I in a soapy right now? What the fuck's going on? Quite funny, but because out of context, it's really weird. But you know, it's the same like superhero comics or anime or you know, like there's like a shorthand to that we get, isn't there? I mean, even on like a close up on film, you know, it's going to be the golden rule. The face isn't going to be centered. It's going to be off center by a third, and they're probably going to like cut across the forehead. Like you're not going to see the top of their head. And you know, that's how a close up happens in a movie. And we got used to it on a 4:3 TV, and then we got used to it on a 16:9, and then you've got the cinematic layout for really. And if it's a really long, thin, I don't know what the dimensions are on a film, the frame, then it's prepping you for lots of landscape shots, lots of beautiful scenes and pans and stuff. And it's probably going to be some kind of prairie or mountain valley or something. Like it's just, we just develop these types. I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah, they become normal. There's this like, there's this sort of vertical video sort of thing. I don't know if it will take off. You see it on your phone though, of course, but like for like cinemas where it's in vertical, you know, layout.
Oh, that's
and then
wild to me. That's so wild.
Yeah. Like what kind of like it just reorients the entire cinematic language, you know, like all of those things that you go like a, you know, like reverse shot should be framed like this. It's like, okay, no, it's like we're doing full bodies or we're doing half a face or, you know.
What do you think of that?
I mean,
That's
I think
it's got innovation.
Yeah, it's innovative. You know, like it's got a place, I guess, for certain type of films. I suppose there's people that are playing around with it, and you know, like I don't think it would take over cinema altogether. But yeah, I think that could be certain sort of things, like, you know. But there's lots of videos that we see like on social media now that are vertical, and you just that's happening. You know, so it's just
happening.
creeping in, just because of the format of the, you know, the viewing devices. It's
that kind of like stylistic disruption. You know, it reminds me of I've got this uncle, and every time we go out to dinner, he complains about modern American cinema, the naturalistic sound. He's like, you fucking mumbling, I can't understand a fucking word you're saying. Like, just tell me what the fucking story's about. Like, and he just drinks wine and he gets more and more agitated about not being able to understand every line of dialogue in a film because it's less ADR. You know, before they would do ADR, right? So afterwards they record their voices and it would all be clear as a bell.
Yep.
And then, you know, basically New Hollywood comes along in the 70s. It is like Scorsese, it's Mean Streets and all that. And it comes along and it's naturalistic sound, and the sound's got there's space and depth to the sound, but that means you can't hear it all. There's like there's an attack on fidelity, which was driving my uncle nuts, absolutely nuts. And I reckon like that screen, like if people are going to make content in that like portrait screen, like people are going to reject it. Like some people who can't be interested in it, they're not going to be able to cope with the trade-off. Like, it was just so funny to listen to his mind in complete rebellion about sound.
Yeah. Well, it's actually interesting because you get used to the mediums that you're immersed in, of course, and I remember when I was a kid and Popeye was on TV, like Robin Williams film, and that's got, old school ADR, and it just sounded so weird, It's like, what's wrong with the voices, like it was hyper, but